the 7 mistakes stopping you from losing weight. How to fix them today. Number 4, the mistake you're making is you're overcomplicating nutrition.
This is a big one.
Yeah.
This is that whole chasing fads. And I think, to be honest, I actually think this was a bigger issue in society probably 10 to 15 years ago than it is now. I personally came across a lot more eating disorders and dysfunctional eating, or people with unhealthy relationships with their food. I think in society, despite the mixed messaging that's out there, I think we're a bit more educated around living and eating a much more, particularly in Australia, a healthier approach to our life.
Yep.
But there's still a lot of shit out there that confuses people, when ultimately we need to understand why we're doing what we're doing, how much fuel we require to achieve that, the recovery that's required to allow ourselves to achieve that day in, day out, and the fulfillment that we get from eating the way that we want to eat so that we can do it consistently over time. And it's a very uncomplicated approach. Simple is best. We don't need to recreate anything or be a pioneer in this field, because the knowledge is there. Track your calories, have an understanding as to what your macronutrient breakdown is, and structure it throughout the day so that it doesn't control your life. It actually fuels you to live a more fulfilling life. And the mistake a lot of people make is, number one, they're searching for a result when the result should be a natural byproduct of the process. And when they don't see a result in a certain period of time, they jump from a diet to the next diet, to the next approach, to the next approach, and they end up labeling foods or diets or approaches as good or bad, and living with this unnecessary guilt that just rules and controls their life. And it's just no way to live.
I think the confusion of it all, I think, is by design in some ways. When you walk through the Woolies aisles and stuff, you can just see the green ticks on things that you're like, hang on, is this even healthy? And I guess if you can murk the waters or make things more confusing, it does make things, allows people to kind of like just not really know. So it's easier to just choose whatever, but it is very simple. And I think if we do get to a point, the idea is to get to a point in understanding our activity and what we need, and then we eat to fuel that, like you said. We choose our food to ensure that when I train, or that activity or that work or that job, whatever I'm doing, can fuel that, as opposed to eating and then feeling like crap and then go and smashing yourself at the gym, punishing yourself in that relationship. We talk about that relationship is such a negative one, but I mean, if the majority of your thought process is fueling what you're doing the following day or what you've got coming up, then that allows room for you to enjoy the odd night out or whatever you're doing, you know, and without feeling like guilty about it.
Maybe, I'm just thinking here, like maybe it's not the food that they overcomplicate. Maybe it's how they feel about themselves. And I think there's no better example of this than if you're walking through the aisles of, say, Woolworths, and you might see a chubby or very overweight kid, and more often than not, there's a overweight parent that's with them. And it's easy, particularly in our experience sort of jobs, to know how to address that, to judge, or to have a perception of, okay, well, they're doing the wrong thing. But we have no idea what those people are going through psychologically that has contributed to them being in the position that they're in, and incidentally having an impact on their children. I think that's the part that we overcomplicate, is we don't actually identify the cause for why we're in the positions that we are. And that then has a knock-on effect to overcomplicating our choices with food. I think if people are able to kind of, it's very difficult to do, but remove or separate the rational from the irrational, and have a strategy toward identifying why they are the way they are, why they're in the position they're in, why they have the outcomes that they have, it would really address a lot of these basic concepts. And once again, all these things would be a natural byproduct of following the correct process.
Well, this is why it's important, because a lot of people, a lot of people don't have the ability to think that way. There's levels to it all, and I guess that's why people do complicate the process in terms of weight loss or being healthy and fit. Is they try to tackle everything all at once. They go out and all right, starting Monday, I'm going to just cut everything. And the beauty of it all is the beauty of Fit Collective and what we offer is we become that voice. We can identify where that problem potentially could be, and then we guide you over time and introduce certain things at the right time so that it's not so daunting on people.
This happened yesterday. So we had a new member sign up yesterday, sorted out her calorie targets, and she just wants to decrease a bit of body fat. And typically we'll start off at a bit of maybe a 500 calorie deficit and see where they're at with the first week's worth of tracking. And for her, she was quite scared of the number that came out at. I think it was 1,600 calories. And I didn't even entertain whether she was scared that it was too much or too little because the focus is on tracking where she's currently at.
Yeah.
And we can make the necessary adjustment, whichever way that is, but we're helping guide her through that.
Yeah.
Rather than buying into the emotion of the fear associated with it, that part will be addressed down the track.
Yep.
And that's one of the key things that people are able to benefit from when they put their trust in an educated, experienced coach or program, is they can be guided through fact rather than emotion, and have their emotions regulated in a way that they're able to put their time and energy into the right outlets that garnish the best results.